Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 172 of the Leon the Great podcast. Your host, as always, Leon. Welcome to all the new listeners coming in, checking out the podcast for the very first time. My goodness, it's been some time, and at least I would say is that my weekly podcast is going in regular schedule. Now, well, close enough, since it is not regularly scheduled on time. But however, on today, since I'm going to be having this released on Saturday, it'll be great to have some new content, new things in the works, and also some new ideas just came out and about. Which for me, there's a lot to say today, and I can't wait to get right into today's podcast. And I hope you guys are having a good week. And plus, with the upcoming holiday coming in, so close around the corner, I think it's just going to be a really good time to talk about what's going to be going on, especially with news that's been coming up. And plus, on today's episode, we're going to go ahead and talk about some news about the GPU news, which I know that a lot of listeners that go on and listen to GPUs, especially, I know a lot of people are trying to keep up with, hey, what's going on with the GPU realm and stuff like that too. And as for I don't keep up with it regularly, which, however, the news comes up very, very slowly on GPUs. And to me, I think it's going to be very important, since I know there's going to be a lot of brand new PC builders coming in the forefront in 2022 coming up by next year, since right now we're close to finishing 2021, which is so close around, and it's crazy how this is going to be and stuff like that too. So yeah, and also hopefully with this, I don't know, cornholio pandemic, or COVID pandemic, I should say. I think it's just getting a little bit crazy and a little bit out of hand, which I understand. At first, we've had people closing down with the businesses because of the virus, and after my research and after finding out what's been going on behind the scenes with it too, which however, I will not get into too much of it into the intro, but in today's episode, we're going to go ahead and follow up on GPUs and where the update it is at right now too. So anyways, let's kick it. Today's episode is brought to you by Scooch. If you've not heard of Scooch Case, it is a fantastic case protector, much more thinner than the OtterBox. What I like about this is that it is amazing and something that you guys can use to protect your phone, whether if it's iPhone or Android, whatever that may be. I recommend Scooch Case to anyone that is looking to protect their device. Their device is basically pretty much everyone's investment, and I definitely recommend to all my listeners to check up on Scooch Case, and also the other one, which is Fortress Up, which is the same company that's brought to you by Scooch Case too, which this one is an amazing protector for your phone. If you've not heard of Fortress Up, I recommend anyone to check up Fortress Up to protect your screen case as well, which I recommend to anyone. Don't regret it at all. Check up Fortress Up and Scooch Case down on the description below. Next, I've been wearing these glasses for a very long time, which is Zenni.com. Zenni.com is the anti-blue light glasses, where whatever you're doing, which is gaming, long hours at work for the 9 to 5, or whatever you guys are doing, which I definitely recommend using Zennis the most. I've used Zennis when I've been on the computer screen working, editing, on my podcast, whatever that may be too. I always see this as something I can use for a very long time, and it has helped me out for such a long time, which I recommend to people. Get it, because you will not regret it. So, but with that said, check out Zennies, and the link is down in the description below. So if you want to go ahead and purchase your own glasses, now is the time to do so, because in which everyone shopping for the holidays, it is a good time to get it while it's there. I'll have any promo codes, anything that you can use to save up on your next purchase. So check on the description below and check on the promo codes down on the links below. And then next one is Brave browser. I use this a lot on a daily basis now. This has been my go-to browser for now 4 years later. I love it. Works great. And it's something I tell my listeners to check it out too. So if you look down to the link below, brave.com, and click on my referral code, you'll go ahead and you'll earn some BAT tokens while you're browsing or doing whatever you guys are doing. And then lastly and not least, it is Blueberry. Blueberry, it's one of the hosting companies I've been using for statistics, and next on my list, I'll be using it for my media host for next year. And I will tell you something too. If you're looking for good media hosting, Blueberry is the way to go. They've been around forever, and which I have to say, Blueberry, it is a great hosting provider, which is based in Cincinnati, Ohio, and the team over there are really, really great, and they're really professional to work with too. And best of all too, if you're looking to get good service on podcasting for a good start of the price, the basic pricing for Blueberry is $12.99 each month, and something I recommend if you are just starting out for podcasting. And even though a lot of people want free, but trust me, the Blueberry is the way to go if you're going to host your media, such as audio podcasting, which I use every single day. So with that said, go ahead and check out Blueberry. And then last on my list, it is Humble Bundle. And this season is the time of year to go ahead and purchase any of your games, instructions on Java, or whichever you're looking to do. A Humble Bundle always have things that you can bundle up every year for lessons, for music, and Humble Bundles has so much to offer too. And a Humble Bundle is great. So if you're looking to find good, affordable, whichever that may be, video games, digital ebooks, so on and so forth, I definitely recommend this to anybody. So go ahead and check this out, and you would not be disappointed. With that all said, let's get on to today's episode, because I am not wasting more time. Now, down with today's episode. Wow. So over the last couple of months, with what's been going on with the supply chain and the market supply right now too, which I have to say, this is getting to become a very challenging year. At first, I've been listening to sources and news coming from 2 Cents J, a YouTuber that I've been checking up on news on graphics cards, PC World, and over for the 300 series, the 3000 series, excuse me. And that's something that we've not seen much improvements. Now, there was somewhat slightly good news on the supply chain that it may come back to recover, but how soon that may end up coming back, who knows? And that's something that a lot of it is going to be very much unknown for now, because right now there's just so much questions to be asked about where the supply chain is heading. And the last news or the update that's come up with the GPU shortages was reported by PCMag.com. It says, inside the GPU shortages, why you still can't buy a graphics card. So that was a really good headline right there, which tells you about this too. And this explains here, which I'm going to just go over. Want to build a PC with the most updated parts? Good luck. The industry has been grappling with a component shortage for years, but the problem was laid bare in 2020 as the pandemic delayed shipments, just as people retreated to home offices and started shopping for the gear they needed to keep their business afloat. Then, as new GPUs hit the market, scalpers, some of whom were trying to make ends meet, after having lost jobs during the pandemic, used bots to scoop up the sought after cards and sell them at inflated prices. Others turn to GPU intensive cryptocurrency mining, which I would say that this year and then last year, this was the year that a lot of these scalpers took advantage of that too, which I've talked about on previous podcasts on this, which while it's not good, the whole thing is still not the best situation. I know that we still have a long ways to go for the market and for everything to recover, which this is one thing I would say that if you are starting out to, and I've said this earlier this year around 2021, is that this year was one of the worst time to start building your own PCs because of the supply chain market. Because if you're, I don't know, it doesn't have to relate to gaming, because I know that graphics cards are still important to the office space as well. Because again, all computers needs a component of graphics card component along with it too. So you can't just get just a bare minimal of just simply a motherboard, some RAM, a USB or PC, excuse me, power supply on it. I was gonna say USP or USB. Excuse me, US PSU. Excuse me. Oh my god, I keep screwing that up. Oh wow, what the hell? You know what? I did screw that up. No going back into that. So forget that nonsense. No editing on this podcast is needed or required. So for the sake of it, I'm just gonna save myself and just say power supply. And because it's all important, while you have all that's important, the graphics card is an essential part of a computer. And that's one thing a lot of people tend to forget. If you're just getting just the minimal parts of a computer, you have to have a graphics card in order to run anything too. It doesn't matter if it's Intel based computers or AMD. That's all essential for sure. And where the trend is heading right now, where we are seeing right here, we're still pretty much a long ways for a recovery. I don't know if 2022 is going to recover that, but the news are still very slow into bringing things out here in the U.S. shores, because since a lot of our power supply is being built in China, Taiwan, Malaysia, you name it. So there's not going to be a fast recovery on this too, because since the disruption because of COVID, we don't know how that's going to go. And which it says right here, continue on PCMag.com, which says, years in the making, as our sister site Extreme Tech explains, pre-2020 GPU shortages trace back in the near term of limited yields on 16 NM GPUs in 2016 and cryptocurrency related demand in 2017 and 2018. Mining setup in your mom's basement. Anyone? At the same time, Intel was dealing with a slightly more complicated CPU shortage, which actually that is correct, actually. But however, I know that not everyone is going to end up mining into their own mom's basement, which I don't know why that's written that way too. But again, I'm not the one that wrote this article, but someone did right there too. But again, it seems to be correct, but of course, not all grown men do mine their mine cryptocurrencies onto everyone's mom's basement, which that's almost incorrect. But anyways, moving on. February. So they have pretty much have a timeline right here, which goes on saying what's been happening on trends with each month throughout the year and so on and so forth too. And as everyone has known about this too, the pretty much the scalping markets has entered around 2020, October of 2020, and that's where things started to hit very very badly. And it's not a good thing. And I know a lot of people have wanted the GPU market to recover, but it's not gonna be a fast recovery, unfortunately. And I know a lot of people's minds were set into getting the most powerful thing they can slap it down to their system, which for me, I didn't have the money to do that. And the one card I could actually afford on my budget, if I can say so myself, which is the 3060, even though it's not the 3070 card, the RTX 3070, but this here works what I can use. I love this. I have no problem with it whatsoever. So to me, I'm very happy. I am very happy with the card I have. It pretty much it. I use this for everyday uses. I use this for to play Witcher 3, which I'm playing this game at the moment, which I love it. Which I can't believe I never played that game dated back when it was released years ago. But now I'm finally getting the chance to play Witcher 3. Woo! So that said too, which I'm playing it via Trovo.com. So if you guys are interested in to see me live on Trovo, my username on Trovo is trovo.tv/LeonLeGray. So you guys can check me out right there too. So I stream about every 3 days each out of the week. So if you guys are interested, just a little side note. But yeah, so so the GPU market is definitely going to be a slow thing for things to normalize. Because very honestly, though, the sculptor market is what really took a big hit, and that's where a lot of people are very frustrated with what's been happening. And so yeah, and then you have to look at it this way. You also during that time last year, you've already had the releases of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So those are the two biggest next gen systems right now too, which that's been out already for about over a year now. And so far they're doing really well. They're really doing it really well. As for I haven't purchased any consoles, and I don't think I'm going to end up purchasing consoles because of budgeting reasons and moving right now too. Because right now I don't plan on staying comfortable in playing games. Now for me, I've very much transitioned to PC, and the way the trends are going, I think that PCs are still going to go. And I know a lot of you guys are going to think, well, I don't have money to spend on over $1,000 on an overpriced card. But if you wait on things to go down, hopefully it will. I will say that hopefully things will turn down, especially on the price point. And don't give up on waiting, because I know that the better you wait, the better you don't have to spend more on a graphics card or a GPU. Believe me, I know that it is definitely tough for everybody not to get their hands on the latest and greatest, which I know I'm just as disappointed as everybody as well. Which for me, I know that this shouldn't. For me, I say that this shouldn't have never happened, not even in the first place. Which I know that if there was a solution to this, I think it would have been great. Quite honestly, it would have been. And I think we will definitely see a recovery at some point, but not as fast. Just to put it very lightly too, because I think all of us want to see a recovery on the GPU market too, and that's pretty much the truth. But right now, what I've been seeing on other websites, I know Engadget, which pretty much has been has reported on graphics cards, which in NVIDIA RTX 2050 laptops GPU slaps an old name on new technology, which right now they're the only thing that these companies like Gigabyte, NVIDIA, and all these companies, they're just adding in old cards because as of right now, they cannot add in brand new cards like the 3000 series because right now it is not possible. It's not possible, but however, it's just not going to be something that they're just not going to roll out anytime soon because of the supply chain issues. So that said, it's going to be very tough. So you guys are just going to have to sit by and wait till new stuff happens along the way too, because I know a lot of people at this point in time, I'm sure that if I've checked the last time, they're like probably like $1,000 on graphics cards. And for those that are looking to spend that kind of money, I don't know who will want to spend it, but for me, believe me, if you save up on December of 2021 and you wait until 6 months and work your way up, excuse me, on a graphics card, you guys certainly can too. With all the things that you already have on your tools, especially with a CPU, motherboard, RAM, DDR4 RAM, excuse me, PSU, power supply unit, and any essential things that you need to add on into your computer build, that's something you'll have everything together too. Because believe me, I think computer building is still going to be very big, and if you add into things like the price drop, and probably the price with our current situation is still high, but if you wait enough to do that, you certainly can wait on for a good product to go down. And I don't know, and this is what questions me about when AMD, I believe they already released a Ryzen or the Radeon graphics card. If I gotten that correctly. Now, my question about that was when I heard the news back about more than 6 months ago, if I got it correct. The question of all this right here for AMD is, how are you able to release a card during the time when cards are still an issue right now too? Because that's where I don't know how they're still able to release it. For me, I don't know. Somehow they're able to do that. There's just tons of questions that I've always asked myself too. So believe me, there's no easy solution to it too, but at some point down the line you will. But anyways, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and jump into the next subject onto this podcast, which is pretty much has to do with labor and work. Which also reminds me, because I know as so much of the pandemic is hurting a lot of people, and this is something I love to bring this up on today, because for me, I am actually gonna look into employ myself for a part-time position, which for me to keep up with bills and to keep up with everything that needs to be kept up with, which for me that is very important that I get pretty much a part-time to do so. Which for me, I know podcasting, I would love to make more, but however, that won't just happen in an instant too, because if that was the case, it would. But however, I would love to expand more on my buy more coffee and a Ko-Fi. And so for those that wish to support me right there too, you guys certainly can, or drop in a one-time payment on PayPal if you like this episode or like my podcast in general. That would be greatly appreciated too. But however, I don't go and start asking for people to. So if you want to support me, you guys most certainly wish to do so too. But however, I know with things that's happening economically, I know that a lot of people are looking for work, and that's something that's a lot a lot of it's important right now because people are so struggling to find work, and I think a lot of the people that took unemployment decided, you know what, maybe probably this was a good thing because I didn't know if I ever gonna like my job or gonna stick with it too, and so a lot of people left. A lot of people just said, I'm done with it too. I might as well take advantage of it and call it a day. Woo! But however, if employment is something that you guys are looking for, so I will say that with so much of the gig economy that's been happening, which I know that's good, and something that I am pretty much faithful that these gig economies are gonna end up doing well, like the Uber Eats, the Instacarts, which are fine too, but we don't know how long that's gonna last because I know that things are starting to recover a little bit too. And I'm not too sure because for one, I know I haven't had it bad with COVID, but I know there's been people that have had issues with it, and I'm not too sure how. Because for me, my immune system is definitely pretty strong with me, however, too. But I know that during times like this too, I know that with anything that's going on, there's no stopping. I mean, with life, you cannot stop. And I know that if you're looking to get a full-time or part-time position, well, somebody introduced me to something that got me into talking about in today's episode, which I think it is really good. So I know that you can post your resumes on Indeed and career builders, monster.com, all that, which I think it's great. Now, this is something that just came in on the RP Newswire, which is something I wanted to bring up to everybody. And so this one here, it's called Insta-work. Now, instead of Instacart or Instagram, this is Insta-work. And so the title says here, Insta-work exceeds goal of signing 100K pros just weeks after announcing the call to action. So this is big, and this news was just brought in back on December 15th, 2021, just a few days ago. So interesting enough, which says here, written in San Francisco, December 15th, 2021, RP Newswire, Insta-work, the lead app for connecting businesses with skilled workers across the U.S., announced today that it has exceeded its goal of signing up 100,000 new hourly pros by the end of the year. The company surpasses its objective within just 6 weeks of issuing the call to action on September 16th, 2021. To date, approximately 1.5 million Americans use Insta-work app to find hourly work near them. And continue on, it says, since August, Insta-work has seen a 50% increase in new hourly workers using its app to find flexible shifts. The company attributes its rapid growth to a 37% increase in new businesses in the hospitality, retail, restaurants, and warehouse industries, leveraging Insta-work to address staffing needs in advance of the busy holiday season. Insta-work has seen a notable increase in demand in the following markets. So I'm going to read over which markets it is in the States. So which has the highest, which it shows here in the bulletin. Chicago, 59% increase in the new pros downloading the app. Los Angeles, 44% increase in new pros downloading the app. Now, third is Atlanta, Georgia, 47% increase. Well, hey, actually, it's much higher than Los Angeles, actually. Then the fourth bulletin is Las Vegas, 41% increase in new pros downloading the app. So this is awesome, which I've honestly, this is really, really cool to see that how fast this productivity app is going to be, because I know that a lot of these a lot of these business owners are still looking for workers. So this is going to be really cool to see that too. So if you guys are looking for work, I recommend looking into Insta-work, which I am going to look into it right after my recording, because I know this is pretty fine indeed. And continuing on with the article, hourly workers have been on the front lines of this pandemic and want their voices heard, said Samir Mighagi. Forgive me for the pronunciation. Must be someone from East Asia. Co-founder and CEO of Insta-work. We are listening. Through Insta-work, pros can not only find the flexibility to set their own schedules, but they have access to shifts that pay higher wages, reflect on of their unique skills and experience. For the future of work to be successful for working class professionals, it must continue to address crucial growth and work-life balance needs, like opportunities for training and development, resources we aim to provide in 2022. So there you go. That's pretty tight right there too. That's just a lot to be said right there too. However, I definitely see that this is pretty much a startup, but still, I mean, that is an impressive number that it's gotten over 100K within 3 months. Now, to say about this is that it's still gonna grow much more faster at a rapid rate, which I know a lot of people are still struggling to find good jobs right there too. And that because I'm sure by the time the end of the holiday season ends right there, and with all the spending, a lot of people are going to end up spending for their children, for their husbands or wives or whoever you're spending to. I know that a lot of people are going to be low on the bank, and so you guys are going to have to look into finding some regular hours right there because of it too. So if you're someone that is looking to look for work, this is a good one right there too, because I've seen some good 5-star ratings, some 4 stars right there too, which I'm going to check out and probably do a better inside review probably in a future episode at some point down the line, down the road, who knows. But I'll give you pretty much an update when a proper review is going to be, and I will definitely do when posting up a future full feature length video and audio. So if you guys want to hear it, you guys most certainly can. So be sure to tune in for Insta-work coming up real soon in the future. And speaking of, I'll have a future review written for Insta-work coming real soon. So, and be sure to subscribe to my newsletter for Substack along the way. So if you want to hear more on the topic of Insta-work. Alrighty then. Okay, so guys, with the year coming to a close very, very shortly, we're now on here in the middle of the year, which, yeah, so pretty much basically in the middle of the year, it is, I thought it was Sunday, but today is Saturday. So Saturday, and my God, I will say that it's things have come so fast and coming to a close. But for right now, I definitely wanted to go over some goals of this year, which I think is going to be very important. And for me, however, I will say, for me at the least, I will kind of want to bring up what's going to be happening around 2022 and things to come next year. So obviously, I am still wanting to grow my blog and my podcast. YouTube, I'm not really, I will want to grow my YouTube channel, but that's something I'm not too worried about per se. And I know a lot of people, they are quick to, they want to grow as quick as they can. And for me, all these young whippersnappers wants to grow fast, but I think patience is what needs to be key when you're growing a channel, and you have to definitely be inventive when you do so, because when you go about growing, you have to be sure that you have to be realistic what you want your channel to be, because that's one thing about it too. And I learned this from somebody from a convention when I was traveling to Europe, over in Germany around 2019, over in a conference over at TwitchCon EU, and he asked me about what was your niche, and so I didn't even know what my niche was, what I wanted to be 100%. It was kind of a mix of things too, and I noticed one thing where he said, "Well, hey, you're gonna have to come up with a realistic niche where people can follow you and take you seriously on the show." Which for me, I've always known about what I wanted, and the niche is realistic. And podcasting about technology, doing video reviews on technology reviews is something I enjoy doing right there too. And I'd like to keep up the momentum. And I do post my podcast up on YouTube. So if you guys follow me up on YouTube, hey, if you want to follow me on there, absolutely, that's helping me a lot right there. If you want to follow me through YouTube, or if you're an audio person, I wouldn't mind you guys follow me through iTunes / Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or whatever it is that you use on a daily basis, like who knows, Good Pods, Pod Chasers, and there's tons of them out there too. So if you guys want to follow me on there, that's great as well. And to me, I know there's going to be a lot of content creators that are going to talk about how to do your content, how to get it up in the air, which for me, I think it's going to be very possible to be a content creator around 2022, because believe me, this is going to be something that a lot of people are going to think about doing their own creative works, which, however, I think it is very nice to do your own creative works, and I think the ideals of doing something is perfect. Now, if that podcast is making you revenue, I think it is going to be excellent if you continue doing that podcast grind. I don't know what's the word. I don't like the word grind, but that podcast, I'm going to change the word to grind into the work. Into the work mode. If you have that podcast work mode mentality, then you've got that going for you too. Because to me, that's going to be very important that you commit to it too. And if you got the niche that you want to talk about, whether if it's fashion, whether if it's technology like I'm doing, or whatever that may be, that niche podcast, remember, you got something that people always got something to say. And I was in a podcast, a top podcast Twitter space last Wednesday, and something I've learned on that too, because throughout the whole pandemic, there's been a lot of increase of podcast listeners around 2020 and 2021 right now too. So the podcasting space is still small, and there's still tons of ideas what to talk about, because it's not too late to do something like that too. Because even though I've always said to on the podcast, you get yourself an XLR mic, make your sound great, which that is true if you have the money to throw that out there too. But if you want to start off somewhere, of course you can start with I started with the Q2U or the Audio Technica ATX 21,000. You sure can. So that's something you guys can start off with too. And honestly though, switching to the Q2U microphone for me personally was one of the best experience of my life. For me, I was just like, wow, this was very much excellent to start off right there too. And to me, as a technology podcast, I wanted to do something where that can keep me going right there too. And for me, with all the listenership I've had, I think every single one of you for the support and help and listening to me through it too. Because honestly, around 20 uh around 2022, there's going to be a lot more episodes to go, a lot more me to comment on, and a lot more consistency next year than it was this year. Because for one, due to family issues I've had in the middle of the year that just threw me off the park. And I know there's always going to be something happening, and nobody's going to go and help me through it too. And I know that family is not something that always going to be on my mind. But remember, one thing is that if there's something that you have to go and do stuff, yes, I agree. But make sure that nothing outside um, breaks what you're doing for the goals of next year. Because that's one thing is that, sure, there's going to be disruption. And I always say that don't let anything disrupt you, what you're trying to achieve. Because there is always going to be someone out there that may say, don't do this or don't do that. And they're going to end up adding something very discouraging to say about that too. And to all my podcast listeners, I know what my goals are going to be. And for me, I still continue to learn and achieve things, not just each year, but each and every day. Personally, I wanted to go and start learning a brand new language. And in fact, I've learned a little bit of German this year too. Not too bad, but definitely need to push the Duolingo, the Babbel, the Dear Lingual, all that languaging learning programs that I've been touching up on too. Hey, I wanted to complete on Russian and German, which that was something I'd love to do. Which I know with everything going on right now with life, the move next year, it's going to be challenging, but it will do. It will happen. Because I know just with the move next year and things that are just progressing right now, I know I really want this to happen right now too, because the move, I've thought about it for about almost half a year right now of to 2021. And for me, I've thought about this for a long time, and I honestly don't see myself staying in Georgia for the long term, which for me, that's where I am headed headed into this point. Because I know that South Florida is, well, how could I put South Florida? It's not good. I know I have family that lives down there, but I don't see myself living amongst them. But having to have my own home will be nice, tons of privacy. For me, that I can see, and many, many more. So that's why. So that's one of the reasons I could put down and say, or my sole reasons that why I'm moving to Florida. Plus, it's not bad because Florida is definitely growing back onto me, and who knows? That may not be a state I'll end up living down there forever, which I don't see that happening. Probably not long term. Probably a short term. I would say about 5 years or so. But yeah, just about 5 years for me, because I just don't see myself having to stay there very long. While if you look at the other hand, things are going to climb and prices are going to climb for houses that are just going to be very, very expensive to put down for a house in Florida. Which, I mean, if you think about it, every state is going to be very, very expensive. But I just don't know if I want to go and go through and pretty much torture my own wallet on that too, because I just don't see why I would ever want to go through that whole solid mess of having to go through and spend money on the housing. While on the other hand, Florida, what's nice about Florida is the state income taxes, which, by the way, there is none. So there's no state taxes there. if you include that with Texas, and I don't know about Tennessee, but maybe Nevada doesn't even have a state tax. I have to check up on that again. I know I might be wrong, but still, I know that right now the goals for 2022 is looking to be somewhat of a surprise, and so there's gonna be tons of things to look forward and tons of surprises ahead towards my future, which I won't or not expect. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty interesting going forward. But yeah, so I'm very happy too. But also, just to end this right there too, so I won't yapper up too much, is that there's going to be so many things happening towards my future, which exactly it's going to be amazing to see where the technology is going to lead us to in 2022. So I am very excited. Moving down the trends on 2022. Well, let's just see what happens then. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make this closing so far too. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you do, make sure to rate, subscribe, or follow what they say now in the world podcasting in Apple now. Follow, subscribe to me if you want to see more episodes along the way. Anyways, thanks for the listen, and take care of yourselves, guys. Peace out. Hello, guys. This is Leon here. Thanks for listening to the LLG podcast. If you wanted to hear more on topics of technology, the news, the world, or my own personal perspective, please make sure to like, rate, subscribe on the podcast services of your choice, and please make sure to comment down below if you have iTunes, and for all your feedback. Thank you so much for listening, and take care.